What's going on, everybody? You're watching and listening to another episode of the Music Mastery Podcast with your host, Leezy the Gifted. And this is a topic that I want to talk to you guys about that I think is super important. And I want to kind of break down kind of the process, philosophy, psychology behind it. And, essentially, I was talking to my friend Zach today, aka Tech Bands, and we were just discussing how, really he brought this topic up. We were talking about how people want to have somebody that they can support that's going to blow up. Okay, now, I think on yesterday's podcast or the day before, I had kind of said, nobody wants to support you. Well, the idea is people want value. So they're not, thinking in their head, I just want to support somebody. What they're thinking is, I need value. And I want to feel good about something. So what you're going to do as a rapper is, or a producer, but mostly this, I'm really I think this is going to make a lot of sense for rappers, but I think this can make sense literally for anybody. It's, you want to give people a reason to want to support you. Okay, so basically, I'm talking about value a lot. One of the value that you bring in people supporting you is you want to be somebody that they can go tell their friends about. Because I want you to think about this. Think about, an artist or a rapper or a musician that you really like. And maybe you discovered them really early on. How excited were you to tell your friends about that person or band or whatever? Because you were kind of the first one to discover that person. I'll give you an example for me. My favorite artist is Kevin Gates. I love Kevin Gates. I heard about Kevin Gates on my own because I think he had popped up on, he was on one of the side YouTube videos, on one of the sidebars, on a Sway in the Morning interview. Nobody had told me about Kevin Gates. But I had seen his name before pop up on another song that he was on with Pusha T. So I kind of remembered the name. So I was like, all right, let me go see what this dude's all about. I clicked on his interview, watched the interview, loved his interview. I loved what he had to say. And he goes, yeah, I'm promoting this new mixtape called By Any Means. If you want to go get it. If not, I don't care. I was like, okay, I like that. I like the way he was promoting himself. He didn't even care. I go watch a couple more of his interviews. Love the dude. I'm like, dude, this dude's dope. I love his interviews. I went to go check out his music. I listened to his mixtape, By Any Means. Loved it. Fell in love with what he was doing. And I was super excited that I had found out about an artist that none of my friends had told me about, that I discovered on my own early on, way before he really, really popped off. And I was excited to go tell people about Kevin Gates, and I still am. I'm super pumped. I've been to one of his concerts. I actually met him in person, and it was cool to it's cool to see him blow up the way he's blown up because I was there way before he blew up. Okay, so basically, what you want to ask yourself is, if people saw me, would they want to tell my friends about? Would they want to tell their friends about me? That's essentially what we're trying to do. We want to be doing something to a point where our people watch us and go, I want to tell my friends about this person. Raving fans of what we're talking about. How to build raving fans. So there's 3 things that people don't want. 3 things people don't want that will stop them from spreading you around to their friends. 3 things, okay? So number 1, they don't want somebody who's inconsistent or who's going to quit, right? They don't want, think about, and this is probably the most important thing right here. They don't want to tell their friends about somebody and then have that person fall off or not do anything. They don't want to be like, hey, I heard about this let's say they were talking about me. Hey, I heard about this dude, Leezy the Gifted. You guys got to go check him out. They're pushing for you. And let's say one of their friends is like, all right, I'll go check him out. And then they go check me out. And then I just stop. And I don't post anything. I don't make music for months. You know what that does to the original fan of mine? Let's keep it with me. The original fan of mine that was advocating, it makes them look stupid to their friends. They look dumb. And literally that fan who spread me out, their word with their friends is diminished. Their friends aren't going to trust their opinion about things. Now, grand scheme of life, is that really a big deal that their friends aren't going to listen to them and their opinion on music? To them it is, because it's their reputation. So you have to think about, like, really the idea is, like, your fans' reputation is your responsibility. That's actually a gem I didn't even think about till I just said it. Your fans' reputation is your responsibility. Be somebody they're proud to represent. Have a brand, have a message that they want to represent, but don't just say it once or twice, all the time, right? That's honestly why I put out content so much. That's why I'm doing a podcast every day, why I'm posting on IG every day. That's why I'm trying to do YouTube videos more often as well, because I want you as a fan of mine to see me and be like, yo, you go tell other people about me, because I want your reputation to say something good about you. Like, I remember who told me about I remember, like, my boy Gabe told me about Wale, and Wale used to be my favorite artist. And I'll never forget the impact that Wale had on me, and I'll never forget that my boy Gabe told me about Wale, right? That's an example, right? Like, when my boy Gabe tells me about an artist, I listen, because he's put me on to Wale, Big Crit, he put me on to Kendrick Lamar, he put me on to J. Cole, he put me on to all these artists. So every time he tells me about an artist, I have to go listen, because his word is important to me. Because every time he's told me about somebody, they've pulled through and been a really big artist, right? So he told me about Big Sean also. Like, I never knew about Big Sean until my boy Gabe told me about him in, I think, 2011. He'll tell me about artists before they pop too, right? That's a big thing. So, by the way, side note, like, my boy Gabe could end up being an A&R one day, because he always tells me about these artists before they really pop. I don't know how he does it. He's just like, I don't know. I don't know if I think he still does that. I think he still really is discovering artists, but the point is that might open up a lane for Gabe, just because he's literally a fan of artists and he knows artists are going to pop before they pop. It's cool. So, but it's about being consistent and not quitting, because you don't want to have people turn their friends onto you and then you fall off. That's like a crappy feeling. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that people don't want. Okay. The next, you don't want to have low quality, and you don't want to, like, basically you want people to feel like every time they're checking in on you that you're raising the bar. You don't want people to be checking in on you and you just be doing the same thing every time, or you to be getting worse. That's really bad too. Like, you don't, like, it's not just about putting yourself out there a lot. It's like, if your music literally just stayed the same and you did the exact same thing for a year straight, people would be like, dude, he just does the same thing over and over again. You want people to be like, oh man, he's getting better. Like, every time I hear this artist's new music, it's like better than the last piece of music. How is that possible? Like, every time this person's putting out content, it's getting better and better and better. You know what I mean? We're talking about the long haul. Like, if people see that your content is better and more valuable every single time, and they notice the progression, they're even more excited to stay with you, because they're thinking, well, I want to see how far this person can go. What else can they do in a year from now? That's what they're thinking in their heads. You know, that's, like, really important, to get people to want to, like, invest in the quality of what you're doing. So the first point was quantity. The second point was quality. And I think the third point is, don't make people confused about what you do. Okay, that's something that, I'll be honest with you right now, I kind of struggle with, because I'm an art, and I've been trying to focus in more. Like, at first, just a rapper. That's all I was doing, was putting out music. And then I was, like, kind of going all over the place, being a producer and a rapper and a marketer, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm way more focused. That's all that I'm trying to do, is get more focused, more focused, more focused. But all I'm doing right now is basically saying, look, right now I don't have everything figured out. I'm a producer. I'm selling beats to rappers. I'm, you know, like, kind of thinking about transitioning into something else as well. But basically, where my focus is I'm a mentor, I'm a motivator, I'm a coach. Like, that's kind of like what I do for people. That's where my content, that's like my market positioning, you know. What's that called? I think that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I position myself in the market, right? You can listen to all these different types of producers who sell beats and who are going to show you how they make beats, which I do that too, but I'm even more than that. Basically, where I'm at is, like, I'm helping you get motivated to actually go do what it is I know you can do. But it's not just motivation. I'm trying to give you practical tips. Like, if you go, I've got a couple really, really key gem episodes that you should listen to. 1,000 fans in 90 days, which is on my podcast, and best strategy to blow up for rappers. It's basically a strategy where you can utilize TikTok and Instagram at the same time. and push your content out. Those are two very practical ways to actually blow up. So it's not just, I don't just want to motivate you. I don't want to just get emotions, even though emotions, look, here's the fact of the matter, right? I'm trying to show you that you can actually build a brand for yourself as a rapper, but the problem that a lot of rappers have is they don't know what that even means. They don't know what it means to build a brand. But like, that's okay, because I'm here to help you with that. I'm here to show you that you're not just a rapper. You're more than that. Like, you're a brand, you're a business, you're a superstar right now. You just got to treat yourself like a superstar. That's the biggest problem, is a lot of these artists, like I've heard people say, once I get my content out there more, or once my music gets to a certain level, I pitch people on this strategy on how to blow up as a rapper. You basically take selfie videos of you performing a verse in 1 minute, you film that on Instagram, or you film it on TikTok, forward it to Instagram, then spend a lot of your day, at least an hour of your day, outreaching to people. That's it. So I pitched that strategy to somebody and they were like, well, my music's not at that level yet where I can do that. No, dude, that's the wrong idea. You should be thinking of yourself as a superstar right now. Think, if I was a superstar and I had a fan base, what would they want from me? They'd want this. They'd want this consistency. And you might say, well, I don't have a fan base though. This is how you build it. The way you build a fan base, right? The way that you actually get people to advocate for you is you have to pretend like you already have the fans. You know why? Because once they find you, they're your fan. The problem that a lot of people have is we have these limiting beliefs, and we can start to get really hard on ourselves. Like, we think like, my music's not good enough, or I don't know how to be consistent enough, or I'm not spiritually aligned. That's a big problem. If you're not spiritually aligned, you definitely got to correct that. Like, you need to do whatever it takes to become spiritually aligned. That's something else I'm trying to help you guys with. I'm trying to help you become spiritually aligned. And I think that I don't get deep enough talking about that stuff. I think I stay very surface level, but I want to start talking more about like spirituality. By the way, I don't even know much about spirituality, so I got to go out there and learn about it. The point is, though, the 3 things that people don't want when they're trying to become your fan. They don't want you to be inconsistent and quit. They don't want you to have no value, and they don't want you to be stagnant. And then number 3 is they don't want to be confused about what you do. When people come and watch my content, they pretty much know what they're going to get. Motivation and practical tips and tricks on how to actually make it as a rapper. That's what you get out of me. Okay? Now, content-wise, that's super clear about what I do. I think where my problems are is the products and the services. I don't think I'm offering the right products and services sometimes. I think beats are great. I'm making beats all the time. I'm pitching beats to artists. That's really what I'm doing. But I also think that I think I have more to offer people. And I think that I want to try to serve different people, not people who just need beats. I think I'm trying to serve somebody different, and that's something that I'm just trying to figure out. But look, here's the idea. You don't have to have all your products and services completely figured out for you to start building a brand. Start. Like, I was just, again, it's very similar. I was talking to my friend Zach, and he was like, he didn't have like one product lined up. Like, this is going to be really advanced. He doesn't have like an upsell figured out. And he was kind of trying to figure that out with me. And I was like, bro, you know what? You don't have an upsell figured out? Don't do it yet. Launch your funnel without the upsell. He's like, okay, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, dude, like, let's just launch. Let's launch and let's see what happens, because it's so hard for us to know what's really going to happen unless you see it happen. You know what I mean? Just launch. And like, we'll do the OTO later, but like, let's just launch. It's the same thing with you as a rapper. You're so stuck on, I have this album that is like my baby and I want to put it out so badly and I'm going to just not do anything until that album comes out. No, that's not what's important. It's crazy because I just talked about how you should make products and services first before content. And I'm starting to realize maybe I was wrong. And I'm cool with being wrong. I don't care, but maybe I was wrong, because you might not have your products and services figured out. So should you just not put out content because you don't have it figured out? No, you should be trying to figure that out. But look at what I'm doing. Like, I don't have everything figured out. I still don't have my products and services figured out yet, but that's not stopping me from putting out content. I'm putting out all this content, the podcast every day, the YouTube videos multiple times a week, the Instagram every day, because that's building my audience. That's building interest around what I do, and that's building goodwill with people. Once I have the products and services figured out that line up with who's watching my stuff, boom, I can pitch it to people, and it'll be easier because I already have that. I already have the audience lined up. Does that make sense? Same with being a rapper. Like, you are trying to promote your music. right? The problem is you're not promoting yourself until you have music out there. That's a problem, because you might not have your music thing figured out. In my opinion, if you're not producing your own music fully, you don't have the music part figured out. That's fine though. We can figure out the music part. We can learn how to produce our own music. We can learn how to mix and master. But before that, you can do something else to promote yourself, and that's where my strategy on how to blow up comes in. Just grabbing your phone, selfie video of you rapping or singing, whatever you do, and posting that and just showing off your talent. It's such a practical way to show off your talent. Then when you have the music part figured out and you're fully like self-sufficient, now we're pitching our music mixed and mastered on streaming platforms. So if people really love the selfie videos, wait, I want to hear this guy or girl in my earbuds while I'm running, while I'm walking. I want to listen to their music. Now you can pitch it to them. But we can build the audience first. We can build the interest around that first, right? So I'm going to review the 3 things that people don't want when they're trying to become your fan. They don't want you to be inconsistent and quit. They don't want you to be stagnant with the quality, and they don't want to be confused about what you do. Those are the 3 things people don't want, okay? So what you can go out there and do is you can go out and start just promoting yourself as a person without promoting yourself. You're not trying to promote yourself. Promote a message. Go out there and just pick one platform. Like, you should have multiple platforms that you're on. Like me, I got the podcast, I got YouTube, I got Instagram, and I'm throwing stuff out on TikTok. I'm kind of inconsistent on TikTok. I should be more consistent, but I'm throwing stuff out there. But the idea is, like, pick one platform. I would suggest Instagram. I like that one the most. Pick Instagram. Start there. Start with Instagram. Instagram's such an easy way to start promoting yourself. Just use Instagram stories. They have a new feature, REELS, Reels, where you can make little reels of yourself doing something. I'm telling you. Trust me, it's so easy. And if you want, you can use TikTok and just forward the pieces of the TikTok content onto Instagram. Trust me, it's not that hard to think about. You just have to execute on it. And I promise you, I really do promise, I guarantee that if you start actually trying to execute on these things and you just start testing and failing, and it's okay to fail because you're not spending money, you're just promoting yourself for free. I promise. If you do these things every day, you will see some kind of results. I know, because I've been putting out this podcast for 140 days in a row. And dude, I've seen progress off just that. I've seen people be like, dude, I listen to your podcast every day. I've seen people say it's insane what you've been able to do. I've caught the attention of big players in this game. I've caught the attention of Legion Beats, because Gabe Legion was like, dude, I'm impressed with the fact that you've been able to go this many days. I want to get on your podcast, right? Again, I know it sounds like a little bit of a humble brag. That's proof to you that putting out a big piece of content every day and being consistent is what gains fans. So I literally have fans like him, Adam Ivy, Omito Beats, people who are like really successful are fans of my content because of these 3 things that I accomplished, right? Those 3 things I said that you don't want your fans to do. Like, you don't want your fans to think you're inconsistent, be stagnant in quality, and be confused. I have accomplished those 3 things not doing them. And I've been able to build actual fans and catch attention of these big players in the game, right? So I just want to say that as proof that this stuff actually works. Okay, so, I just want to say, if you got any value out of this podcast, leave a rating, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, click below, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you never miss a YouTube video, because I'm like starting to put out a lot of videos. And share this with a friend, because I honestly guarantee that there's somebody out there that you're probably friends with other rappers. Share this with other rappers. I guarantee this is probably going to help them and give them practical tips on how to actually start building their career too. Let's not hold our knowledge back, guys. If you hear something out of this video or podcast that you like, share it with people. They want to hear it too, right? So, and it would mean a lot to me. It would help me grow my fan base, right? So it would just mean a lot. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Peace.